there is a place far away where great white sharks roam. Here in South Africa, tour operators bait the sharks. They can lure these monsters of the deep so close you could touch them.
There's just started being more and more attacks, more friends of ours, the people that we actually knew.
But a surge of attacks has people worried. Is baiting the sharks conditioning them to think of humans as food? I want to find out. To do so, I'm going to swim with the great whites of Shark Alley. If you want to see great white sharks, the place to do it is Hunts Bay, on the tip of South Africa's Cape. Just off the coast is Dyer Island, and just off Dyer Island is Geyser Rock, home to thousands of Cape fur seals. Great whites cruise up and down the channel hunting the seals. They call it Shark Alley. A whole industry has sprung up using bait and chum to attract sharks to cages full of divers. But what happens if you use bait to attract sharks to humans? Are the sharks learning to think of people as food? I'm a biologist, and I want to get to the bottom of this controversy. So I head to Hunts Bay to see for myself what cage diving is all about. I put to sea with dive operator Andre Hartman. He's a former spear fisherman.
People have this fascination to come and see these things close up because, number one, people know nothing about them. They're afraid of them. And they'd love to sit and watch them from close by in safety. They go crazy about it.
We make a beeline for Dyer Island and drop anchor in Shark Alley. Rosier Steensma explains that they'll tow a decoy designed to look like shark prey and try to trigger an attack.
That looks great. It really does look like a seal.
We speed off, the fake seal trailing behind us. I'm not even sure if there are any sharks in the area. The minutes tick by. I'm gonna get a camera ready. These animals can easily weigh over a ton. Imagine the momentum it takes to get that bulk clear out of the water. The thought of a shark hitting a human being like that is horrible. In 1998, Neil Stevenson was 22 and one of the world's best bodyboarders. His career was taking off. He hoped to become world champion. But on Saturday, May 16th, the course of Neil's life was violently changed.
I was paddling along to the takeoff zone when I noticed this dark shadow underneath me.
At first, Neil thinks it's a dolphin.
But the shadow just kept coming more and more and more, and at that time I knew that this was a shark. The whole dorsal fin and tail fin like came to the surface and fanned the water. Next thing I knew, it was hanging on my leg.
Neil feels no pain. He doesn't know what damage the shark has done. Reacting out of instinct, he pushes the beast away.
And I gouged my fingers into his eye. And when I looked at my leg, from my shin, my foot and everything was gone, and there were just two bones sticking out. It shed all the meat off below the knee.
Struggling to remain conscious, Neil tries to paddle to shore, fleeing the shark.
The next thing I felt, this thing hit me again. The shark come back and had taken me on my left leg now.
Neil manages to push the shark away again. And at last, he catches a wave and rides it to safety. He lost his right leg below the knee. His left was horribly lacerated.
But good.
It took Neil months to recover. Amazingly, he still surfs. He recently placed third in the Wave Ski World Championships. 1998 was a terrible year for shark attacks. There were nearly 3 times as many great white attacks as normal, injuring as many as 8 different people.
There was definitely something very wary with the ocean. You could sense that just something wasn't right. Just a lot of feedback about the negative implications of the sharks in the area that hadn't been seen here before.
It was quite terrifying because we hadn't had attacks for quite a long time. And it was fine, but then there just started being more and more attacks, more friends of ours, the people that we actually knew.
Surfer Taryn Warner is one of those who fears the impact of cage diving on the sharks.
I don't think cage diving should be taking place. They're out there daily. I mean, they're operating continuously, so they're continuously throwing chum into the waters and luring the sharks closer. And up you go!
Can the surge of attacks in 1998 be linked to the growth of cage diving? The number of attacks fell back in 1999. But the government was sufficiently concerned that it's funding research into cage diving. The home base for that research is back at Shark Alley, on Dyer Island itself. The inhospitable rock is home away from home for New Zealander Ryan Johnson. It's Ryan's job to answer the basic question: is cage diving turning the great whites into man-eaters?
My research really entails looking at the predatory behavior of the white shark.
We head out early in the morning, so we have Shark Alley to ourselves.
We're underway, huh?
Ryan wants to monitor the shark's behavior before the cage dive operators show up. Then he'll see if the arrival of the boats affects the shark's behavior.
These are designed to sort of resemble the natural prey, the larger prey of the shark. So we've
The
got
decoys imitate a seal and a penguin. The sharks attack the decoys, and Ryan monitors the aggressiveness of those attacks. With our decoys in the water, now we just need a shark.
There it is! Check him! Oh my gosh, look at that thing! What's he doing? What's he doing? Oh man, he's huge! Look at him!
This is the first time I've been this close to a great white.
Here he comes, he's coming for it. No, he's just circling. Oh man, look at the size of that thing! This is great! 2 giant sharks circling the boat and the decoys in high seas, man. This is great stuff. How big is that?
That's about
4.5 meters?
4.5, yeah.
Man, the thing is huge! That's like 13, 14-foot shark.
Ryan rates the shark's aggressiveness on a scale of 1 to 5.
basically divided up into 5 behavioral events. The lowest being the circling of the decoys.
Where there is no interaction with the decoy. The shark gets 2 out of 5 if its fin breaks the water as it circles.
And the next highest is the interacting, when the shark actually bumps the decoy without using its mouth.
This is the same shark. Just continue.
The 4th most aggressive attack sees the shark mount the decoy, but at low speed.
I see him. He's gonna go for it. Is that him? Come on, baby, hit it. Here he comes. He's got it. Oh!
In the most aggressive attack, the shark hits the decoy with such force that part of the shark's body leaves the water.
Look at the size of that thing! Oh, look at him!
He decided to eat it out. That animal definitely gets a 5 out of 5 for aggression. The cage dive operators begin to show up and start baiting the sharks. Will the bait and chum make the sharks more aggressive, as the surfers fear? It generally takes a while for the sharks to react to the arrival of the boats. While Ryan is monitoring the sharks' behavior, I head back to Andre's boat. I want to see just how the cage dive operators interact with the animals.
Thank you, my friend. I enjoyed it. Very good.
It's not long before a big shark begins to stalk the bait. Now's my chance. I can't see the shark. I have no idea which direction it will come from. The shark looms out of the murky water. It disappears into the gloom. I lose track of it. Then, suddenly, the whole cage rocks in the water.
I cannot tell you how terrified I was. To have the shark decide that he wants to stick his nose in the cage and get a better look at me, I mean, my heart stopped. I mean, for a millisecond there, I was dead.
The great white is an intimidating beast, frightening in its speed and power. But these sharks can also behave in ways that are quite unexpected.
One day, one young shark came around, and I thought, I wonder what he's going to do if I open his mouth. So as he came around, and I just stuck my hand under his nose and lifted his nose up, and his whole head came out the water in a beautiful gape.
The sharks often mouth the boat's motors. Sharks sense the faint electrical fields generated by living things, and they may be investigating the electrical signals given off by the motors. Andre insists there's no link between the cage diving and attacks, and he's actually swum with great whites outside the cage.
We've dived with probably in the region of about 300 different individuals over the past couple of years, and not once did one try and eat any of it. They did that, so I just can't see how people can make the connection. I'll be prepared to jump in the water and swim with them to prove that we're not conditioning them to eat people.
Andre is as good as his word. He is going to enter the realm of the great white. No cage, no scuba.
Stick close to you.
And he invited me along to be part of the experiment. Andre takes his spear gun, but it's not loaded. We can't rely on it to stop a 14-foot shark if it decides to attack. A shark circles the boat. It's just feet away from Andre. Seeing the shark like this, I'm struck by how graceful it is, how confident it appears.
Oh, man! Woo! What was that all about with the team?
Just gaping at us.
Oh! That one came close.
Just showing us.
I was like, ah!
She wasn't very happy with us there.
Oh, man!
The shark was certainly intimidating, but us swimming around in its world didn't throw it into a feeding frenzy. Still, our little experiment wasn't science. I wanted to hear what Ryan's research indicates about the cage diving and its impact on the sharks. Ryan has found that the boats do have a temporary effect on the shark's behavior, but it's the opposite of what you might expect.
I think it's becoming clear that there is a short-term impact on their behavior, an immediate impact. When the shark's operator is there with their baits in the water and the shark has an opportunity to come up their mouth this bait, it does seem to put them more in a scavenging mode of mind.
Because the bait is dead, it may switch off the shark's active hunting instinct, making them less aggressive. But once the boats leave, the sharks revert to their normal behavior. As to long-term effects, from his observations, Ryan is confident the cage divers are not training the sharks to eat people.
I'm working with the sharks every day, and truthfully, they don't stay in this area long, maybe 1 day, 2 max, and no animal can be conditioned when you've only got that 1 day of interaction with it. I can't imagine how they could be conditioned in that sense.
I'm relieved. It would be a real tragedy to think that this shark tourism could lead to more shark attacks. Instead, it's an opportunity for us to experience this magnificent creature at close hand. A creature that may be threatened with extinction.
Everybody I saw that went out on one of those boats stepped off the boat back on the dock, and they were just like, wow, that was one of the most amazing things I've ever done. Those are incredible animals.
From my experience, I don't believe the great white is the killing machine it's made out to be. For me, it's a majestic creature. Inquisitive, elegant, and completely attuned to its environment.
A day doesn't go by where I don't think about my experiences with those animals. I mean, it's amazing. No matter where I'm at or what I'm doing, at some point I find my mind drifting back to seeing those great white sharks.